Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Coach Bill with Fat Loss Made Easy Solution. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Today is a beautiful Monday, nice and warm. Sunshine is out. Guys, today's a great topic because most of you that are just starting out either in primal eating or meals or doing the ketogenic diet, you're most likely all of you are going to run into this issue. And because of this issue, most of you will either fail or you're going to quit because you don't understand the physiology of the body and how it works. So the topic for today is what the heck? My ketones were sky high 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they're reading trace. Does that mean I'm not in fat adaptation or I'm not burning fat? Well, guys, the question is, first of all, that those of you that are just starting out in a ketogenic diet or primal eating, you know the idea. You've heard me talk about this many, many times, that you're looking to get your body into fat burning. You want to turn your body into a fat burning machine, right? Well, you understand now because of all the science, because now there's so many people doing the ketogenic diet or intermittent fasting, because the focus is to produce ketones that are produced in the liver. So you're switching over from burning glucose to burning your own fat or the fat you're eating. Well, which happens is that the fat goes into the liver and produces the ketones. That is telling you that you're entering a phase known as fat adaptation. Okay, so that's what we're getting to. And today, yes, is my non-fasting day, and I am having my fat coffee that I look forward to mid-afternoon. It doesn't have coconut oil; it has actually heavy cream in it. So anyway, so how do we measure the ketone levels? Well, those of you that have been on my online personal coaching, you guys know, or those of you that have followed me, you know that we always start off the first 2 weeks of changing your meals are using urine ketone strips. So that's the first thing. That's the first one. And so what the urine ketone strips do is they measure the excess ketones that your liver or your blood or your liver is producing. So remember that word I just said, excess ketones. Okay, so ketone strips is what we use to first start people off. The second method of checking your ketones is with a breath meter. Okay, and what that does basically is measures the acetone in your breath, which means those of you that have been doing this a while or when you first started out, when your body finally gets into ketosis, you'll notice you'll taste a metallic taste in your mouth, or you'll have an acetone breath, and that's what the acetone meter, or that's what the breath meter will measure. We don't recommend that because that's not an accurate way to measure. Now, the number one way to measure your ketone level is always going to be a blood ketone meter. So you're actually going to be doing a blood test just like the diabetics do, but it's a special meter that detects the ketones in the blood, and that's the number one way to do it. Now also know that medicine or the medical field also is using a ketone meter to follow cancer patients. Okay, so let's go back up to the number one way to check the ketone meters or check the ketones is with the strip. Now, what happens here, I'm going to try to explain this very simply and keep it short. Remember what I said about excess ketones? Okay, so I got something in my throat here. Let me have some of my fat coffee. And so what's happening is you're now that you're doing a primal meals or a ketogenic diet, and you're also doing intermittent or prolonged fasting. You're taking the fat either from the food you're eating or from your own stored fat if you're doing intermittent fasting. And that fat is going into the liver, and the liver's producing the ketones, okay? Well, at first, and we're not sure how long it takes. Some of us takes longer than others. Your cells, you got your trillion plus cells at the cellular level, they don't have no idea what ketones are yet. So they're not utilizing all the ketones that are in your blood. Well, your body has a safety mechanism that if you're producing too much, if your blood has too much ketones in it, it could put you into a dangerous environment. So your blood has an automatic safety valve that it excretes it through the urine. And that's what you're measuring with the strips. And that's why it's okay to use these strips for the first couple of weeks just to see if we're getting you closer into fat adaptation. But the problem is when you're looking at the strips, it's a color code. The deeper purple you are, the more ketones you're excess out. You're eliminating, okay? Well, people get this mindset when they're first started out because who's ever helping them through the transition of burning from glucose to fat isn't explaining to them this information that I'm about to tell you, that your cells at the cellular level just are not utilizing the ketones you're producing, so your body is pushing them out of the urine, and that's the measurement you're getting on the strips, and that's why it's a deep purple, because you're extracting so many of your ketones. Then, after you've been doing it for a few weeks or 3 weeks, I'm not sure how long it takes you to do it or for this to come up in your body, you'll start noticing that the colors starts to get lighter and lighter as you get deeper into fat adaptation. The problem is people are focused on those colors, meaning they're in fat burning mode most of the day. As the color gets lighter and lighter, they start to panic because their mindset is, if I'm not in that dark color, I am no longer burning fat. And that's absolutely wrong, guys. And I'm here to tell you that. That's wrong. Matter of fact, as you get deeper into fat adaptation or fat burning, where your body is actually switching to burning fat and not the sugars you have eaten, then you're actually getting deeper into burning fat. And that you should be excited about that. The lighter it gets, the more excited you should get. Because the object, guys, is to get to where your strips no longer works. Now, some of us takes a little longer than others, but they will no longer work, okay? And so then what's the next step? How do you measure your ketones? Well, if you guys follow me, or if you've been on my online personal coaching plan, we not only measure ketones, we measure glucose levels because the two are related. You have to know both readings to make sure you're in fat adaptation. And I'll explain that here in a second. But what happens is, guys, once those strips no longer works, that's telling you and me as your coach that you are now utilizing more of your blood ketones at the cellular level, and that's why you're feeling so good, and that's why you're losing the weight or the fat, and that's why your clothes are starting to change. Okay? You're putting your body into what they call fat adaptation, and you're getting closer to keto adaptation. And I'll explain that to you. So, for example, I'm going to use Emily and I as an example. Okay, let me see. Where's it at here? Well, anyway, here we go. A good example is Emily and I. We've been fat adapted and keto adapted for a long time, okay, for a while. So now, those strips do not work on us at all. It took me a little longer than it did Em. I don't remember how long. So we had to switch over to the blood ketone meter. And for us, because we're so consistent at our plan, our keto plan, plus we combine it with intermittent prolonged fasting, that even when we take our blood ketones, we're only going to be at about 1.8 to 1.3 in a fasted state at 24 hours. Even at 36 hours, my ketone levels will only be like a 1.1 or 1.2. I haven't eaten any calories for 36 straight hours. So my ketones, most of your ketones will be sky high. But because we're so ketone adapted that our cells at the cellular level are using up most of all of our ketones, and that's exactly what I want to happen. That's your goal. Your goal is to become ketone adapted to where your body is going to, your cells are going to utilize most all your ketones in your blood. And now this is where glucose comes in. So how do I know if my ketone levels aren't that high? How do I know that I'm in autophagy, or if I'm in actual deep fat burning or therapeutic autophagy? How do I know? It's all because of my glucose level, guys. And what happens is now when we do a 36-hour or 24-hour fast, because we're so fat adapted, that our glucose will be down in the range of 65 to 74, and I know that I'm in fat adaptation, deep therapeutic, and autophagy, where I'm getting such massive health benefits from. And you guys have heard me talk about this, before. And so that's the idea, and that's why it's so important that you do both of these readings, because once your body starts to utilize your ketones, then your readings are going to be a lot less, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's actually a great thing. You should be excited because you have your glucose meter to make sure you're still in fat adaptation. Now, now that Emily and I are in this environment where our ketone levels aren't as high, but our glucose levels are very low, we're using a system known by science as a GKI index. Now, the reason why I'm saying known by science, because the GKI index, which is the glucose ketone index, that's exactly what we're doing. We're using a glucose blood meter and we're using a ketone blood meter to measure our ketones. Now, there's a formula that was designed by the medical researchers to evaluate brain tumors, cancer. That's exactly right. That's how the GKI came about. It wasn't for weight loss. It wasn't for fat loss. It wasn't for looking for autophagy, or if you're in fat burning. It was discovered to be used on patients that had brain tumors. They needed to know the relationship between glucose and ketones when somebody has a brain tumor or a cancer. And so that part here is the amazing thing about the GKI index on where it actually came from. Well, what's really crazy is that in 2015, guys, there's some science research that showed, and this is real research, an abstract, that they were doing the research on humans who had brain tumors, and they used the GKI index because that's what they found. They could determine that by lowering the glucose of that person and elevating the ketones by changing their diets to a higher fat, very, very low carb diet, the brain tumor shrank. That's right, 2015. They knew that they could starve cancer cells in 2015, but they didn't tell you. The oncologists did not tell their patients about this because they don't even know about it. They don't research this stuff. And this research is actually in the same place where they go. But they don't know or if they even saw it, they're not going to tell you, because why would you need chemo in radiation. You don't. Because they discovered that they can actually shrink the cells by starving the cells. Cancer cells cannot live on fat. In this YouTube, guys, I've said this before. You can go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it, go to the description section. All this information will be there. I'm even putting in the science that I'm talking about, and I'm also putting the webinar that one of the top researchers or doctors who have been using the ketogenic diet, combining it with intermittent and prolonged fasting on his own cancer patients, and he now has actual research on his own patients showing him or showing the public he's starving cancer cells, and now he's out amongst the medical professionals showing him the research. And in the information here, I actually put his video on the webinar explaining everything I'm telling you here. Okay, guys? So this isn't me talking. This isn't me. This is actual scientific research that is being hidden from the American public because the medical professionals don't want them to know about this. You guys need to share this information. If you know anybody that has prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, a fatty liver, obesity, or if they're battling cancer, or if they want to prevent cancer, you guys need to see this information. Okay? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and see if I can bring up the research here. Okay, this research, it says here, it was published by the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism in Pathology, published on March 11th. This is exactly what the research says, 2015. Okay? And the title of this research is the Glucose Ketone Index Calculator. A simple tool, but yet a very powerful tool to monitor therapeutic efficiency of metabolic management of brain cancer. That's exactly what it said. And what it talks about is it has the abstract there, and it has the background, and in the background section it's explaining how they're using human patients to detect brain tumors, cancer brain tumors, and how glucose is elevating blood ketones in the tumor. So what they're saying here is that if your glucose level's too high, your ketones are going to tank. They're going to be 0.01 or 0.02. You need to get up a 0.05 and higher. So what they figured out here with this meter is that they have to lower the glucose level in order to get the ketones up there, because then the body is going to switch to what have I been saying? It's going to switch to fat adaptation. And now the method, they actually have the method here. They explain the method, and then the biggie, the result. And that's the result by using the GKI index. The same thing we use for our clients who are trying to lose that belly fat or body fat, or if they have prediabetes or type 2 diabetes or fatty liver or obese, it's the same thing, because we are getting the hormone that's designed to store fat in control, and that's insulin. And the reason why this research works so well, and why Dr. Thomas Seyfield from Boston College is now showing the world on his own patients how it works, is because it's actually is the lesser, or if you lower your glucose by going to a higher fat, good dietary fat, and getting away from all those starchy carbs and keeping just veggie starch, then you're going to see results. Now, on cancer patients, there's other doctors like Dr. Boz who figured out, who used on her patients, that they needed to be, just like Dr. Thomas Seifield said, they needed to be at 20 grams or less. And if it's a severe case of cancer, they need to be below 10 grams of carbs per day. That's what they're finding. That's what they're finding that's going to starve cancer cells. So guys, that's the research. Like I said, it's not me. I'm not the one that's talking about it. Okay? So let me get back to my notes here. Okay, so you guys understand how important the GKI, or measuring your glucose and ketones together, is, and that the conclusion to what I'm about to say here is, when you're first starting out using the urine ketone strips and the color strips start to get lighter, you should get excited. Your body is working exactly like it's supposed to work. And now if you go to a trace reading, which I'll have a picture of that in here also, you should be really excited. Because if you're following the plan like we have designed in our online personal coaching, if you're following that plan, then your body is doing exactly right, and you're putting yourself in one of the most powerful, healthiest environment you could possibly put yourself. And not only that, but you're healing your gut because you're in that environment, and you're boosting your immune system to prevent what? What's happening today? What's the news media saying? COVID-19. The people that have depressed immune systems are the ones that are having the big issues and dying. Well, science has already showed us through intermittent fasting and a ketogenic diet, it helps to boost the immune system. So, why aren't they pushing that? Why aren't they telling people that change your lifestyle? You're going to boost your immune system, and you're going to be able to prevent these issues. Okay? So, guys, in that, like I said, go to my YouTube channel, type in Bill Mabry, subscribe to it, check out this YouTube, hit the description section. There's the science. And also, guys, this whole thing also helps slow premature aging for you guys that are 50 plus that are looking to do that also. You can also go to my Weight Loss Made Easy Solution group Facebook page, join it. This video will be there also, so you can view it. Remember what I'm saying here, guys. Don't let the ketone strips make you quit. Because if you're following the plan consistently, those strips, you want to get them to get lighter and lighter and lighter, so that then you're going to have to go to a blood ketone meter. Okay, guys? So guys, I hope you saw some value in this video. This is actually going to be one of my training modules for my new clients, just to remind them the reason why those ketone strips are getting lighter, so they don't get discouraged, they get excited. And I hope you guys are having a great day so far, and we will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Bye.